milk, cheese, butter. Long ago, families seeking the perfect livestock discovered that not all dairy animals were created equal. While cattle conquered the vast pastures and goats took to paths high and forbidden, sheep offered something different. For generations, shepherds across the world had developed the remarkable dairy sheep, each breed shaped by the hands and lands of the people who raised them, from the misty hills of Europe to the sun-baked Mediterranean shores. These animals have provided food, clothing, and a livelihood to countless families. Hello shepherds, welcome back, and if you're new here, hello. This is where we talk all things sheepy. My name's Megan, and choosing the right dairy sheep breed can be overwhelming. So for today, I'm breaking down the top 8 dairy breeds perfect for small holdings, plus some unlikely alternatives. Come along as we explore each breed's unique gifts that they bring to the table. Some produce rivers of creamy milk, whereas others bring in hardiness that can weather any storm. And by the end of this video, armed with the information here to guide you, you'll discover which breed speaks to your heart and suits your homestead. So some disclaimers, I have a speech impediment, and also I'll try to do my best to pronounce the breed names, locations, and such accurately, but I want to apologize ahead of time. Also, I try to locate the most true to breed examples to bring you and locate folks who are breeders of said sheep. Some breeds were harder to find than others, but I put their links in the description. So let's start off with the most well-known dairy breed. Any guesses? Commonly called the Holstein of the dairy sheep world, East Friesians are a mid to large woolly breed, historically from the region around northeastern Netherlands and northwestern Germany. Traditionally, they are kept in small flocks and thrive with personal attention. East Friesian ewes and rams are naturally polled or hornless. They have clean legs and sport a rat-like tail, with high percentage sheep more so. Often, in most areas though, they're a blend of local breeds, so they tend to lose that whip-like tail. This is because even though East Friesians produce quite a bit of milk, they tend to handle heat poorly, they may be prone to worm issues, require a higher quality diet than lesser productive sheep. So just to maintain this really good health or prevent lambing problems, there's a lot of crossbreeding that goes on. East Friesians tend to lamb multiples, and with their wool measuring between 35 to 37 microns, they tend to have a longer fiber length and produce several pounds of wool each year, between 4 to 5 kilograms or 8 to 11 pounds. So they are productive, but the wool quality tends to be more on the coarser end. Milk quality wise, East Friesians tend to produce between 500 to 700 kilograms or 300 to 600 liters, 79 to 158 gallons of milk over a course of a 2 to 300 day lactation or a 6 to 10 months. There's even records of individual East Friesians milking as much as 900 liters or 238 gallons per lactation cycle. On average, they have between 6 to 7% butterfat levels and nearly 6% protein. Traveling on over to southern France, we have the Lacaune Sheep, contributing to the development of the Roquefort cheese industry. The Lacaune Sheep are one of the most studied dairy sheep breeds in the world. They're a really vigorous government program. The Lacaunes may produce less milk than breeds like the East Friesians, but their milk quality has a higher fat and protein content, which produces superior cheeses for the region, also lending its distinctive character. But not only that, they release more oxytocin while being milked, which helps them let down their milk faster and milk out quicker than other comparable breeds. These sheep are able to handle temperature swings with ease. They're tolerant of cool and hot weather. The ewes and rams are naturally polled or hornless. The breed's known for its sweet temperament and overall personality, that they're headstrong and willful, where other people have called them super affectionate. So maybe it depends on the sheep in question in terms of personality. This breed's most widely used sheep in France for milk and meat, and many Lacaune have very little wool on their heads, legs, and sometimes even their whole belly is bare. Some can shed their double coat of wool, and others may need a light shearing. Because of this, Lacaune aren't known much for their wool production, so let's talk about their milk amounts. The Laucanes are known to produce between 280 to 339 liters or 74 to 89 gallons per 200 to 300 day lactation or over the course of 6 to 10 months. Traditionally, they lamb twins and are a mid-sized sheep, I believe, and they produce a butterfat content around 7 to 8% and protein levels are above 5, almost 6%. In terms of color, they only come in one color, and that's white. Okay, so moving on, contrasting with the lush, cool mountains of the East Friesian's homeland, we have the rural, arid regions of the Middle East. The Awassi evolved as a part of a nomadic sheep breed through centuries of breeding to become the powerhouses today. It's a semi-fat-tailed sheep breed, and they have long, pendulous ears. They're adapted to grazing in both confinement systems as well as open grazing farms. They're known for their calm disposition, and it's one of the most common non-European based dairy sheep breed. They can be found from continent to continent, but they're mostly concentrated in modern-day Iraq all the way to Southwest Asia. The Awassi are considered a moderate size by many and weighing in at 68 kilograms or 150 pounds for the ewes and 70 kilograms or around 154 pounds for the rams. They're usually white with a brown head and legs, and the rams usually have horns, with the ewes often being pulled but not exclusively. In some areas, it's crossed with local breeds as a foundation to many other dairy sheep breed lines as well, and in terms of milk quality, they average around 40 to 80 kilograms or 88 to 176 pounds or 89 about 90 gallons or 300 liters of milk per 150 to 210 lactation day period. Their butterfat content comes in at a whopping 6.7% and protein just above 6% as well. Our next breed comes from the rugged terrain of Sardinia, where versatility isn't just a perk, it's a feature. Let's talk about the Sardinian sheep, or Sarda sheep for short. If you've ever tasted an authentic pecorino Sardo cheese, then you have a Sardine sheep the thing. They're highly adaptable. For centuries, the Sardinian sheep have been grazing the hillsides as well as the rocky mountains terrain of this beautiful island. And this wonderful woolly wonder has a long, coarse, often white wool, primarily used to make carpets, but mainly our average size sheep are renowned for their above average milk. The ewes produce around 220 kilograms or 485 pounds of milk in a 210-day lactation, and their butterfat content comes in at about 7% and their protein levels are around 6%. Their ewes are naturally pulled, and rams may have vestigial horns or scarves. Next up, we have a breed that might surprise you. The British Milksheep, also known as the Alderbred. It's a relatively new breed, but it's already proven itself to be hardy, prolific, and a really versatile choice. Originally developed by Lawrence and Mary Alderson in Wiltshire, Northumberland, the British Milksheep was first based on existing flocks of Dorset Horn, Blue-faced Leicester, Eastern Prolific, and then Lion, Textile, and the East Friesian sheep, some of which were kept by the Aldersons. These are a medium to large polled sheep with white, woolless faces and hairy legs. The British milk sheep are known for being good-tempered, calm, gentle, but also robust and adaptable. They're mainly used to improve other market flocks, and in terms of milking, the average milk yield can vary from 250 liters or 66 gallons to more than 400 liters or 105 gallons in a 210-day lactation, with their butterfat levels and protein levels coming in both at 6% respectively. They readily lamb multiples and produce a soft, demi-lustrous or buttery fleeces. The ewes produce around 4 kilograms or a bit over 8 pounds of fleece per year, where the rams bring in around 6, almost 7 or 14 pounds of fleece each year, with their staple length ranging from 12 to 18 centimeters or 4.7 to 7.1 inches. And currently the British milk sheep can be found beyond the White Cliffs of Dover in regions throughout North America, France, across the Pyrenees Mountains, all the way through to Greece and Hungary. Okay, so next up, what happens when you set out to deliberately create the perfect dairy sheep? You get the Rideau Arcott. Through the dedication and hard work of the Canadian breeding program, the Rideau Arcott was born. This is a breed of sheep that not only has multiple lambs, quickly, but also high milk production and a fast growth rate. Rideaus have a great mothering instincts and are larger sheep. They're tall with a clean face and clean legs. They're usually white, but can come in bronze or mottled, as well as known for having a wool of medium quality. They're named through a combination of a common name found in Ottawa, as well as the acronym for the Animal Research Center of Ottawa, or Arcott. As one of only a handful of livestock breeds developed in Canada, the Rideau is genetically, if I got this right, 4 parts Finnish landrace, 2 parts Suffolk, a small bit of East Friesian and Shropshire, and a dash of Dorset Horn. Add in a pinch of Border Chester, North Country Cheviot, Rumlets, and Corridels. The Rideau Arcott is known for its high fertility rate, multiple births, its milk production, and the fast lamb's growth rate. They're naturally polled, though some of the rams may still develop some scarves. They're often kept to improve the gains in the meat sheep programs, but they really shine when paired with a terminal sire, so you can get that crossbred breed hardiness coupled with that high milk production from the ewe, and those other stats end up stacking for an overpowered market lamb. They're considered to produce a medium quality but soft, lustrous fleece with an average yield of 2.7 to 3.6 kilograms or 6 to 8 pounds. Their staple length tends to run in between 7.5 to 15 centimeters or 2 to 6 inches, and their micron count tends to vary. Even so, they're capable of yielding between 100 to 200 liters or 26 to 52 gallons in a lactation cycle. I couldn't find any information on the butterfat or protein levels so far, but if you guys want any specialized breed profiles where it's just a deep dive on the one specific breed, let me know in the comments. Okay, so our next breed of sheep is a bit of a superstar. In the Guinness Book World Records, under the title Prolific, more often than not, there's a photo of a Finnsheep. It puts the multiple in multiple lambs. The Finnsheep landrace, Finn or Finnsheep, is a breed of domestic sheep native to Finland. The breed belongs to a group of Northern European tail sheep, which also includes Shetlands, Icelandics, Romanovs, Splasio, and several other sheep breeds. The Finnsheep regularly has triplets and quadruplets, even octuplets and septuplets. They're not just highly productive mothers though. They produce plenty of milk to go with all those mouths to feed. And known colloquially as an easy keeper, easy or good doer, they're resistant to parasites as well as a large range of other problems such as pregnancy toxemia and eczema, as well as more. Though Finnsheeps produce often white fleeces, they also come in a variety of colors and patterns, yielding an average of 4 to 6 pounds or 1 to 2 kilograms of fleece per year. Their wool has a soft handle and a beautiful luster. The locks run between 3 to 6 inches long or 7 to 15 centimeters long, with a micron count of 24 to 31. In terms of milk production, they're reported to have an average of 250 liters or 66 gallons per lactation period over the course of 7 months. I could not find any information on their butterfat levels or protein levels. Both the rams and ewes are polled though. Moving on, our next on our list is the Chios sheep breed. Its origin can be a bit of a mystery, but it comes from the Greek islands and it's known for its high adaptivity and some heat tolerance. They're known to contribute to the local cheeses such as the feta, as well as breed out of season. It's considered a semi-fat-tailed sheep breed, and they're mainly used for their milk production, but they do produce a medium type grade wool that has a staple length of 8 to 13 centimeters long or 3 to 5 inches, yielding between 2 to 6 pounds or 1.2 to 2.5 kilograms of raw fleece per year. They're usually white with a little bit of black, and sometimes they'll have brown spots as well around their eyes, their ears, their nose, sometimes on their belly or leg. At maturity, the ewes come in at 105 to 155 pounds or 48 to 70 kilograms, and the rams weigh in at a whopping 145 to 200 pounds or 66 to 91 kilograms. The rams tend to be horned, but the ewes can be either polled or horned, and they tend to produce multiple lambs. When it comes to milk production, the ewes can produce between 265 to 600 pounds or 120 to 272 kilograms kilograms of milk per lactation. The average lactation period is between 210 days or 7 months, with an occasional star milker producing as much as 77 liters or 205 gallons of milk in 200-day lactation cycle. Their butterfat content and their protein levels tend to come in around 6% respectively. Our next milk sheep is one of the largest northern European short-tailed sheep, and they're part of the same family that includes the Finnsheep, and these are our Icelandics. Icelandics are known for their rugged hardiness, their ability to thrive on rough terrain, as well as harsh winters, but it's usually at a cost of less milk. It's still a very thick and creamy milk, and they're considered by some as more of a triple-purpose breed than, say, a standard modern dairy breed. They have these beautiful dual coats that come in a variety of colors, but Icelandic sheep do not handle the heat well, and they may need to be sheared twice a year in the warmer areas. They can be pulled or horned. They tend to throw multiple lambs. Some are super tame, and others can be a little bit more alert or slower to warm up to handling, but this can really vary based on flocks or the individual sheep. Some people call them the poor man's cow, but I mean, really, come on. Sheep and goats take less upfront costs than cows, and it's economical. Plus, they make really great tasting milk. So whether you're team cow, team goat, team sheep, or chicken, the shade does run centuries deep, it seems. Joking aside, Icelandics are the definition of rugged survival or resilience, and some folks say that there's wool lines and dairy lines, and it can be hard to find more than an anecdotal information when it comes to a breed standard with milkiness. On average, Icelandics yield anywhere between 2 pints to a quart to 1 liter or a quarter of a gallon of milk per day, which equals to about 3/4 of a pound to 1 pound. I couldn't find any information on their butterfat levels or protein levels, but I used to raise Icelandic crossed East Friesians a while back, and if I recall correctly, it was around the 6% range, so very similar to Nubians in terms of butterfat and protein, but those guys were mixed, not purebreds. So if you do milk, or if anyone's watching who does milk their Icelandics, don't forget to leave some comments below. Okay, so what if less wool and more hair is your top priority for a milking sheep? Then let me introduce you to some of the alternative sheep milk breeds. We have the St. Croix and Catalans. Both are very beautiful breeds of sheep, and I have a little more data on the Catalans, so we're going to talk about that one. The Catalans are a medium-sized breed with an average weight for ewes approximately around 65 kilograms or 145 pounds, and for the rams, they're around 95 kilograms or 210 pounds. The sheep can be any color and really flashy to boot. They tend to be hornless or polled and grow a soft undercoat in the winter that they can shed or enjoy getting brushed off in the spring. You can spin it, but personally I found it kind of a pain to pick or clean that chafe out, but that's just me, not a characteristic of the breed. They're heat tolerant and they can handle the deep south's humidity really well, but also the harsh winters too. They're parasite resistant, very sweet tempered. I found them to be very easy to handle and have really good mothering abilities. With Catalans, just like with other sheep breeds, the more prolific or more lambs they produce, the more milk they'll produce as well. They're recorded to produce on average between 210 liters or 55 gallons over 210-day lactation, but I do worry that because of the nature of how most people breed them for meat rather than for milk production, there can be a lot of variation from individual sheep to individual sheep. Technically, you can milk any breed of sheep. So for example, I do milk my Shetlands and get half a quart or more per milking at peak with lamb shearing, and by 7 months it tends to peter out to like a pint. But with milking Shetlands, as well as when you're milking alternative or non-dairy specific sheep breeds, there can be some better milkers, or what I call star milkers, modeled after like the dairy goat industry, where some sheep just put more energy into being cute little tank than actually putting that work into the milk pail. They tend to be easier keepers, which is a bonus, but also with the alternative sheep breeds, there's a higher risk of having a really short lactation cycle, which may be perfect for someone who doesn't want to milk a lot, or where they just want enough milk to reach those lambs to weaning. But it's not very good if you have like a greedy lamb who just never seems to grow up, which can be cute, especially when the lamb is like the same size as the mom, and then they're still nursing, and it's like, how are they even doing that? But the worst part of that is that, you know, they barely produce any extra milk, maybe even with lamb shearing. So it really helps to look for dairy character in sheep, similarly to how there's dairy character in goats or cows, where we're looking for a wedge-shaped body that's elegant and well built but not coarse, and to stay away from strictly meat breeds. Think pig-shaped but sheep, or muscular like a Cornish chicken but in sheep form. So those are still really beautiful sheep breeds, so don't get me wrong, but for milk you may be left wanting. I know I didn't cover all the dairy sheep breeds, but I really hope to cover the ones that you're more likely to encounter within a reasonable driving distance. And on that note, oftentimes one of the hardest parts in finding milking sheep is locating a high percentage dairy sheep. And the easiest way to do that is to contact a local-ish sheep dairy or someone who is specifically breeding for dairy or milk production. Most dairy sheep, depending on your region, may take several hours of travel to get to, unfortunately. So remember that the best choice is really one that fits your farm, your climate, and your goals. Sometimes it involves making do with what's around and breeding up or breeding a quality in. I think there's this shared struggle in locating milky sheep that the dairy sheep group all experience. So that path isn't always easy, but it is deeply rewarding. Also, if you're wondering about cheese yield, often I get around 25% of the liquid weight. So for 4 pounds or half a gallon or 8 kilograms of milk, I get around 1 pound or 2.2 kilograms of cheese. During peak production, this is also during the time of skimming all that cream off of the milk. So we also include around a pound of butter per week at peak. But right now I'm currently getting more like a pint of butter. So I think that about covers it. There are several really beautiful dairy sheep breeds, and each has their own strengths and struggles. And hopefully with the information provided, you'll find that perfect flock that brings you many years of good milk, good fun, and that peace that comes with working with these really mellow muffins. So here's the fresh milk, homemade cheese, and the rewarding life of keeping dairy sheep. If you made it this far, an extra special thank you. I appreciate you. And if you enjoyed diving into the sheepy side of the dairy world, hit that subscribe button and the bell where we explore a sheep-focused lifestyle every week. Ta-tas!